Hey everyone, this is Linda Johnson from BrewNymph.com coming at you with another edition of Let's Get a Beer, Florida. Now it's been a couple of weeks since I've done this video, so I'm glad to be back. Had a few things happen. Glad to be back. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of events, news since I last spoke to you guys. So let's just go ahead and get going. This is the weekend of April 7th and the week of April 9th. And even into the future, because as you know, we like to look ahead so you guys can be prepared and do all of those fun things that are coming up beyond this weekend. So first of all, national news, right? Of course, it is the Masters. All right, this is my hat from the 2007 Masters. You guys all know I'm a sports nut, golf nut in particular. And yes, we've been watching the Masters already. Got 3 more days, so woohoo, we're excited about that. And I also have my towel here. I posted a picture from when I was there last in 07. So this is stuff you can only get at Augusta National. So pretty cool stuff. Excited about that. Have a great weekend watching the Masters for all of you golf nuts out there. I know there are a lot of you out there. And hey, golf goes with beer too, right? I actually have a funny story on my Twitter and Facebook page right now about what the Light Beer Kingdom is doing there. In watching the Masters yesterday, I did not see any of those shirts that we were talking about, so we'll see what happens there. Anyway, let's get going on with some Florida stuff, right? We have Florida brewery news, beer fests, special event info, and local happenings around Jax, Jax Beach, and St. Augustine. So first, we're going to talk about some other news, and this just in. Our friends down in South Florida, Funky Buddha, are addressing the tragedy that happened at the high school a few weeks ago, and they've teamed up with a bunch of other breweries across the country, and they're doing an online auction to release some rare and unique beers that you might not find anywhere else. Now, this auction will be going on through Sunday, April 8th, and this is where you can sign up to bid on these beers that I'm going to read off in a little bit. I will also put this link on the BrewNymph.com website, probably in the homepage, up in the little text box where I do news items that come and go, since this one has a pretty short shelf life. But anyway, it's for the Stoneman High School, and that's the name of the fund right there, and that's going to be your link to where you can get some of these rare beers. I'll hold this up again in just a second. But let me just read the release from Funky Buddha, parts of it. Over 24 brewers nationwide have donated rare and vintage bottles of beer, many of which are signed by the owners, founders, and head brewers from companies such as Stone, Sierra Nevada, Dogfish Head, and more. And these items are being auctioned off online via the We Are Stoneman Douglas site that I just showed you, with the proceeds benefiting the Broward Education Foundation's Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Fund. 100% of all funds generated by this project will directly benefit the families of the victims, survivors, and those affected. There's a second lot of signed barrel-aged and vintage beers specifically from Funky Buddha, and a private dinner for 30 that will also be auctioned. Now, I looked at the graphic that they sent with that. That's a bunch of their Living Barrel series, in addition to the other nationwide ones. And I'm going to read some of these off in just a minute. The online auction is organized by Parkland Golf and Country Club in Parkland, Florida, with assistance from Funky Buddha. And again, you can bid on these auctions through Sunday, April 8th, so you only have a few days to do this. And they're available for local pickup only due to shipping regulations. So here's some of the bottles that are included. You've got 4 of them from Seventh Son, 2 from Allagash, a Cool Ship, a Bourbon Barrel Aged, Bee Nectar, Cider, Dude's Rug, Zombie Killer, Necro, Tuchel Style Freakout, Ballast Point, Bourbon Barrel Aged 2016, Victory at Sea Navigator, Employee Only Limited Blend, Biscayne Bay Brewing, Strong Ale, and Navigator Doppelbock, Broski Cider Works Elderflower Cider with a branded glass, Cigar City's Barrel Aged Cuvée Hunapoo's Imperial Stout 2018, Devour Brewing Truck Stop Bandit Imperial Stout, and the ones from Seventh Son, Gin Barrel Aged Mangrove Anyone's Guess, Bucket Full of Thoughts Barrel-Aged Scotch Ale, and Log Jam and Farmhouse Ale with blackberries and currants, aged in oak. And there's a whole bunch more. Dogfish Head with a couple of 120s, Firestone Limited Release, Founders, CBS and KBS, Funky Buddha series that I mentioned, Left Hand Brewing, North Coast Brewing, Odell, Rheingeist, Sierra Nevada, Trip in the Woods, 2 different versions, Tarpon River Brewing, Rare Barrel Homes, Sour Home, Wormtown Brewery, and that Funky Buddha lot has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 or 9 of the barrel-aged Living Barrel series. So again, here is that website. If you would like to bid on any of those, there's the website and the link to do that. And I'll put that again on the BrewNymph.com website as well. So pretty cool thing. If you're into all of those rare beers, sounds like a great opportunity to grab some of those and help out some victims of a just horrible, horrible ordeal down there. So thanks to Funky Buddha for organizing that. All right, beyond that, we do have some other news going on. Brewers Association released its new style guidelines a few weeks ago, and those now include the hazy IPAs that many of you have come to know and love, and now they have a legitimate home in the Brewers Association style guidelines. I have a link to that on BrewNymph.com. I actually wrote a short article about that. I also have a link to that in my Beer Schooled 101 page, which, by the way, has a bunch of other links on it as well, so check that out. So in addition to the new style guidelines, Brewers Association also released its stats and numbers for 2017, which I also have on the site, like I said, in the Beer School 101 with links and resources. So you can see the stats 2017, over 6,200 breweries in the U.S. now as of 2017. And of course, there have been some closures too, which we expect to see more of as more come on. But the good news is that at least for now, it seems pretty strong. And you can read all those numbers and get all of those insights from those experts at Brewers Association. Bart Watson over there with all his stats, some pretty heady stuff if you're into a bunch of numbers, okay? So more news. How about our friends over in Tallahassee? Proof Brewing Company with the big news a couple weeks ago. Major expansion, how about it? They just moved over to that Railroad Square location not too long ago, it seems. And now they're beginning this big old huge site closer to downtown Tally in a former Coca-Cola plant. They're looking to open by the end of 2018, early 2019, so stay tuned for that. Those guys just keep trucking along, you know, winning all those medals and stuff at Best Florida Beer and Hoona Day and all those kinds of things. Proof is no stranger to BrewNymph.com website. Seems I'm always running into those guys, and they're always making some headlines somewhere, okay? Prosperity Brewing, Brewers down in Boca, just opened a couple of weeks ago. I first met those guys over a year ago in Jupiter. So if you happen to be down in South Florida, give those guys a look. And they were doing a bunch of different beers when I first met them. The ones that I did have were pretty solid. So next time I'm in South Florida, I think I'll hit Boca. Now let's look at some Jax area news. Legacy Ale Works announced its location, its lease is signed, and now the fun starts: permitting, building, and of course, brewing. I do have a story about that on BrewNymph.com with the particulars on that, again referencing the Q&A I did with Matt and Liz last summer. Also, Strings Sports Brewery in Springfield is beginning construction on its space on Main Street. Their loan just got approved, so now they'll be moving forward as well. And early word just came out about Keene Brewing going in just west of downtown Jax. So let's take a look at this, Jax. We have a bunch of new breweries. Now, how many does this make now? So here's what we're looking at. We've got, in addition to Keene Brewing, we've got Reeve Brewing in Mayport. I have a preview about that on BrewNymph.com going back to December. Legacy Ale Works that I just mentioned, Strings Sports Brewery in Springfield, Fishware Brewing going in over there in Murray Hill, Ruby Beach, the former Zeta, Jax, that's in Jax Beach with a new concept, looking forward to that. Blind Rabbit Brewing at Blind Rabbit Burger and Whiskey Bar in Jax Beach. I got a sneak peek of that a couple of weeks ago. His equipment had just come in, and that's going to be a nice little setup there. I know he's brewing, so be on the lookout for that. That should be happening pretty soon over there at Blind Rabbit. We also have Tabula Rasa in downtown that was announced a little while ago. A new one as yet identified in a former church in Brooklyn, according to some other media sources. And there's at least one more that I am personally aware of, but can't say anything about yet. So what is that, 10? So Jax, you're looking at 10 breweries coming on, in addition to who knows else what's out there that we don't even know about yet. And we are thinking that there are some underserved areas still within the 904. So be on the lookout for these new breweries coming on. Some of them will be fairly soon, and some of these will be later in the year. So anyway, more beer for everybody in the Jax area, as it seems all over Florida. All right, more beer. Now, check out the revamped local calendar page on BrewNymph.com, the All Jaxed Up plus Tap This calendar page. I do put headlines of that type of thing and links right in there. So right before you get to the calendar, I have the headline bullet point stuff, just to call your attention to some highlights before you get to all the daily events. So let's look ahead now to some beer fest and special events in April. But first, if you didn't see the recap of Huna Day, FBG Fest, and Best Florida Beer that I did, take a look at that, especially the Huna Day recap story. Was that opening video crazy or what? I took shelter, refuge, under the Cigar City Brewing tent as those thousands of people were swarming in. And no, it wasn't like that the whole time, okay guys? It was very well organized, very spread out, lots of open room. You know you're gonna get that on that opening entry, and that kind of makes it all the fun. Some of us who were behind the lines were even talking about that. It was just a lot of fun to watch. And it only lasted, it didn't last very long, a few seconds. Somebody did lose a hat, so there was a hat casualty. But other than that, take a look at that, some pretty good stuff there. All right, here we go, April 7th, off the charts, guys, off the charts. This is all on BrewNymph.com. A lot of this is on the Beer Sphere page, where we list Florida events, beer fests, special events, things of that nature. So let's get right to it. We've got our friends at Swamp Head in Gainesville, year number 10, okay? I think one of the first beers I had from Swamp Head was Midnight Oil, which to this day remains one of my favorites. Congratulations to Swamp Head, that's just awesome news. 10 years, they're doing a dunk tank. They did a bunch of collabs with breweries around Gainesville. Those will be on tap. So check all of that stuff out. Big party. You know, it starts in the afternoon, but you know it'll be a wild night in Swamp Head, right? And as long as I've got this wild night, I just want to call attention to something we'll be talking about later, the Hogtown Beer Fest with the 5K. And at the end of that 5K, yes, complimentary wild night, okay? And I'll be looking forward to that because I'll be down there doing that 5K. So congrats again to Swamp Head. Great news on 10 years. Great guys over there, great beer. Gotta love it. DeBerry Craft Beer Fest and Disc Golf Tournament, also on the 7th. Tallahassee Brews and Burgers Fest at the Brass Tap in Tallahassee. Sprung Beer Fest in Miami. Now, I haven't been to this one, but this gets something in the nature of 6,000 to 8,000 people that go to this down there in Miami. So have fun at that. It sounds like an amazing time. Brewmasters Invitational at Port Canaveral, right by the Discovery Tower over there. Brew at the Zoo, West Palm Beach, presented by West Palm Beach Brewery and Wine Vault, which, by the way, I just visited in January and have a review story on the page. If you're down in South Florida, guys, this is a must-do. And they just added their outdoor patio space. When I was down there, they hadn't had that yet, and since then they have added it. It looks really nice, street view, indoor and outdoor now. So check out that if you're down there. Also, Barnes and Beer Craft Beer Fest at Old McMickey's Farm in Odessa. And there are more beer events coming down the pike, but those are for April 7th. Now, since we're still talking April 7th, we'll go to some Jax events now. And we're getting all jaxed up, okay? These are Jax area, Jax Beach, St. Augustine. Again, I've got a whole page dedicated to this on the BrewNymph.com site. So check it out and get all jaxed up, okay? So here we go. Bowigan's Brewery, and yes, I did say that correctly, from the Orlando area is launching Around Jax this week. I actually went to a launch event last night at Alewife, and today is Friday, by the way, I'm recording this, and there will be another one Friday night at Beer 30 San Marco. So look for these beers around town on tap now. They'll be distributed here on tap. I had 4 of the ones that were offered. Bows and Berries, which was a Berliner with boysenberry, Bow 9, a citrus pale ale, Shake It Out, a milkshake IPA, 7-layer stout, and then I did get a sample of a bourbon barrel-aged version of that 7-layer stout with peanut butter. I got to tell you guys, that milkshake IPA was pretty awesome. It had some vanilla in it. That's your hazy style for you hazy, crazy guys. This one had some vanilla. It was a little sweet, and of course it was light on your tongue, and I really enjoyed that one a lot. I found all the beers to be pretty solid, so look for these around town. And hey to Bobby, it was great talking to you last night. So be on the lookout for Bowegans around town, okay? All right, also, over the weekend, local festivals are popping up. We've got One Spark Idea Fest at Daly's Place, Friday, Saturday night, Springing the Blues Music Fest, Jax Beach, Rhythm and Ribs, St. Augustine, all weekend long. Saturday, April 7th, there is an ALS walk at Seven Bridges, Tinseltown. It's 2 miles, so it's not that far. 2 miles, pretty easy. And Engine 15 has a team. So if you're not signed up yet, go ahead and join the E15 team and take a walk for 2 miles and do some good, get off your butts, work off that beer, okay? Also, on April 7th, Southern Swells has a Year of Brewing party. It'll be doing a new tapping. Mini Bar Donuts will be having a special karate donut. And take a look back at the interview I did with Corey and Jay back in January for their 1-year anniversary. And if you might remember, when they opened, they started off with all guest taps and they started brewing a couple months later. So that's what this event on Saturday is, to celebrate the 1 year of them brewing. So if you're out in Jax Beach area, head over to Southern Swells. Looks like a lot of fun things going on over there. Brews, craft beer bar in Atlantic Beach, turns 2. It's having a big old party on Saturday. There's also a Jacksonville Lantern Parade on Saturday night. And as mentioned, it's Masters Week. So a couple of places around town are having a couple of pudding contests on Sunday now, okay? So on Sunday, you can check out Wicked Barley and Brews Atlantic Beach, where they'll have some putting greens set up, and you can make some putts for a hole-in-one and a chance to win a free beer. So take a look at that on Sunday, and yes, this is my ball from the Masters, okay? So again, happy Masters weekend, and try to win a free beer at Brews and at Wicked Barley with those putting contests. Which, by the way, if you haven't been to Wicked Barley and checked out that new beer garden that they have there, it's really pretty awesome. I just put a picture on that on my All Jaxed Up page, and it's all synthetic grass now, and it's really nice. It's all leveled out, a lot easier to walk around. It's going to be great for events going forward. So check out that beer garden if you haven't been there yet. Now check the site again for more daily events, because I'm only running through some highlights here. There's a lot more. There's ladies' nights and more one-off tappings and some pints and beers specials and food specials and things like that. So check out my All Jaxed Up Tap This calendar. I've got those all listed there. Heading into the week now, we're looking into Wednesday, April 11th. We have the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp with their opening Homestand Wednesday, April 11th, okay? Guys, if you haven't been to the venue, it's a great venue. Easy to see everything. It's very comfortable. It's affordable. It's family friendly. There's a good seat no matter where you sit. And I was at the Shrimp Suds Craft Beer Fest a couple of weeks ago. I'll be putting a recap story about that and a preview of Jumbo Shrimp home opener. I went out to the field the other day, got to see the team getting their photos taken, got to walk on the field, took some pictures of the players and the coaches, saw the team photo, and got some batting practice, some pitching practice photos. I took some video of that. I'll be putting that all in an article coming either later today or tomorrow. Check it out, and don't forget, April 11th, Jumbo Shrimp Homestand opens. I have a story about that last year on the site as well. I'll be incorporating some of those stats. One thing I want to mention is the food. The food at the field is really good, and they came out with some new items this year. Now, when we went to the preview day, they served a couple of these new items in these little replica baseball helmets. They were served with the food upside down. I'll be putting some pictures about those on, but they did have something called the Duval Heavy Hitter, which was a chicken tender dish. They also had mushroom and nachos, barbecue pork nachos. And if you order those, you'll be getting them in a regulation size jumbo shrimp helmet. And these things were pretty big. You're going to need to share them with at least one other person, maybe even more than one. So stay tuned for that. I had a great day out there, Jumbo Shrimp Day. Thanks so much to Jumbo Shrimp. It was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to opening day. I've got my seats down there in the hot corner, so I'm looking forward to that, okay? Heading into next weekend, we're just going to look ahead real quickly. Heading into next weekend now, we've got Intuition and the above-mentioned Southern Swells did a collaboration, and they'll be releasing that April 13th and 14th. There's a Nor'easter Belgian New England style IPA and an Interstate Kung Fu Battle double IPA. So they'll be releasing the first one at Intuition, the second one at Southern Swells, but you'll be able to get each of those on draft. The cans will be releasing at the respective breweries. So got that, right? So that's all on the site as well. And those guys are just trucking along with all the new releases and stuff, right? Also on April 13th, Party of the Decades at the Anheuser Brewery. It's a themed party with different eras of music and opportunities to dress up. Sounds like a lot of fun. And let's look ahead, like I mentioned, because you need to plan these things out. So April, we do have Hogtown Craft Beer Fest coming up on April 21st. I couldn't find my passport from 2017. I do have one. This is my 2016 passport. It's at a new location this year. It'll be at the county fairgrounds, but typically they organize these into pods according to geographic regions. Easy to find the breweries you're looking for. There's an app for it you can download, and you'll be getting these passports. Word of caution, there is no online or on-site sales. You have to do them all online, and yes, it will sell out. Get those tickets, because if you show up the day of, you're out of luck. No tickets. Also on the 21st, the Bad A ** Beer Fest over at Tampa Bay Brewing, West Chase. If you're on the Tampa side, can't make it to Hogtown, check out that one. Those guys at Tampa Bay Brewing are awesome, and this sounds like a really good fest. They get a lot of breweries there. Also in Tampa, Zoo Brews at the Lowry Park Zoo, happening on the 21st. Coming back into Jax on the 22nd, just a heads up, there's a homebrew competition, lagers at Alewife. So you might want to enter that if there's still availability. April 22nd is Earth Day, and of course our friends at Swamphead, there goes my golf ball, our friends at Swamphead do the annual Tree Fest, which will be happening on 28th of April, and we'll be talking about that more, but just a heads up on it. And I do have to say kudos to Saltwater Brewing down in Delray. This is that 6-holder pack that we've been talking about. The ones that's supposed to break apart and more economically friendly, not only to nature, but to the wildlife as well, marine wildlife and birds and whatnot. So anyway, we're looking forward to that. Kudos to Saltwater for taking the lead on that. I really hope this takes off, because I got to tell you guys, I do a lot of 5Ks out in the area and just driving around, wandering around. Let's clean it up, guys. I hate trash. I hate litter. It's disgusting, and litter sucks, okay? I absolutely hate it. I go out and do 5Ks, I see stuff. Yeah, I actually pick up some of this stuff. Hopefully these new beer pack holders will start to lead the way on that, because let's face it, guys, we're the ones causing the mess. How hard is it to use a trash bag, okay? It's not. So get your beer cans, your bottles, whatever you got. Don't throw it on the street. Put it in the trash bag. Put it in the recycling bin. Recycling bins are everywhere. Use them, okay? And that's my soapbox for the day. All right, little happier note. Around Jax, we also have some beer dinners coming up at the end of April. I believe it's the 26th and the 28th, Hyperion and Atlantic Beach. Now, these guys also collaborated on a beer that you will be able to get at each one of those respective beer dinners. So I have links and info on my All Jaxed Up page, so take a look at that and get some good food and new beer. Couple more things we're looking forward to real quickly. I just mentioned Hyperion and Atlantic Beach. Well, let's mention them again. As you know, they're both turning 1 year old in May, and they've announced their anniversary party dates. I have those on the website as well, May 5th, May 18th to 20th. So check that out. Congratulations to them, 2 one-year breweries, and the fact that they both did a collaboration is pretty cool as well. It's also going to be Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, and don't forget, just announced, yes, it's that time again, Green Room Brewing Quetzalcoatl Tequila Barrel Aged, May 5th, starting at noon, the bottles and the release. And if you haven't ever been to a Green Room release party, you can know that you're going to look forward to variants and other beers on tap. Eric just does a phenomenal job with that every time he does a release. And just to wrap this whole thing up, guys, thanks for staying with me. That was a lot of stuff. If you'd like to get my articles delivered right to your inbox, please sign up for my newsletter, because I changed the feed on this. I took the feed sign up box off. I think if you signed up for it, you'll probably still get it that way. But sign up for the newsletter, because going forward, it's going to be automatic through a different email provider that I've just started. So I'd appreciate if you give me some love and sign up on the newsletter. And that's it for now, everybody. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Masters. Enjoy Jumbo Shrimp opening Homestand. Enjoy these other events going on, whether it's around Florida or around Jax. And we will see you around town this weekend, and into the future. Have a great week, everybody. And until next time, let's get a beer, Florida.